So I'm going to teach you how to finish off a hemline if there is a facing or a placket or a bit of bias that requires a really sharp finish on the edge. So this is really common when you're sewing a shirt. Quite often you have a placket down the front of the garment that needs to be hemmed. And the problem you face if you were just to do your standard double folded hem is that you will be able to see that there is a sort of roll of hemming going on there. It's not very professional. So I'm going to teach you a really nifty trick on how to finish that line off whilst maintaining the integrity of your hemline. Right, so in this exercise, I'm going to pretend we're doing the front of a shirt and we have got a facing where the buttons are going to go. And I haven't stitched it down because I need to be able to access this part of it. And that will be a very common instruction in any pattern that you get. We're going to use a 5/8 seam allowance just for this exercise. It's just what I've chosen to use. So so this hem will actually sit at 5/8 and I've marked that on. So what I need to do is we need to turn this over to the right side. Okay, and I've just unfolded that facing. And what I'm going to do is at the line where it will be folded over to the wrong side, I'm now actually just going to fold it to its right side. We're going right side to right side, albeit temporarily. Okay, and I'm just going to pin that into position. And with my marker or my gauge, I'm going to mark again that hem allowance, 5/8 on this part here. Okay. I'm going to keep the lip of the facing folded. So that's still in position. I'm not going to unfold it. I'm going to keep it folded in position, and I'm going to stitch at the hem allowance just on that facing piece. So I'll go and do that now and I'll show you the result. Right, so I'm just going to stitch this. And I'm going to do it at standard stitch length. And I'm going to reinforce and do reverse stitches at the beginning, at the end. Okay, but what's really important is that we're going to the edge of the facing, but not beyond that. There we go. Okay, so this has now been stitched, and whilst I was at the machine I also did a basting stitch along that hemline so that I had something to anchor the hem against. So what we need to do now is just trim off some of the excess, and in sewing patterns sometimes you're required to do this before. I tend to do it after, but I'm going to snip up to the stitching line and across to take that triangle of fabric out. You may end up needing to do a little bit more, but that just reduces the bulk. And if you wanted to, you could snip that corner as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this now to the right side, and I'm going to take a point turner just to sharpen that edge out. And what we've got, and you should be able to see, is an absolutely beautiful finish to that underside of the facing. Now what it's done is also started to bring your hemline upwards, as you can see. So at this point, this is where you can start pressing your hem against that basting stitch, that anchor stitch, in order to then finish the hem off like normal. So that's how you finish off a hemline when you've got a facing or a placket or a bit of bias tape or something restricting you from being able to do a standard hem.